Hi guys, welcome back to my video. I just went home after going out with my friends, and during our outing I received a lot of compliments of other people. I mean, it's been a while since I go out and receive compliment from strangers. So today I really want to talk about how I glow up, but it's not about physical appearance but about mentality. Well, to be honest, I used to think a real glow up meant looking completely different, things like better skin, nicer body, maybe finally becoming a kind of person that people will look at and be like, wow, they have really changed. And yeah, I did some of those things. I learned how to dress, I worked out a lot. But here's what surprised me: none of those things really made me feel different for so long. Like, I would get a lot of compliments, I would feel good for maybe a day, but then I would wake up the next morning with the same insecurities, like still wake up with the need for reassurance. That's when I realized something. I realized that the biggest glow up that I will probably experience has nothing to do with my look, but it has everything to do with how I think. So yeah, today I want to share with you guys about that. Okay, one of the hardest truths that I had to accept is that not everything is about me. I know it sounds obvious, right? But think about how often you do this, how often you think everything is about you. When someone doesn't text you back, you probably think, are they upset with me? Or when your boss looks a little bit serious, you would think, I am probably getting fired. Like, duh. And by the moment you think like that, your brain will become a hardworking detective which constantly looks for evidence that you have somehow messed everything up. But trust me, everyone is living in their own movie. Just like you are living inside your imagination and I am living in mine. Like, come on. We are not that special. You are not that special. And I am not that special. We are all busy living in our own world. So one of my first change is that I just stopped caring. It's not like I started living in I don't give a fuck mode, but I just realized that people are not analyzing me nearly as much as I analyze myself. Okay, and the second biggest change is that I stopped thinking that a good person is a person that get liked by everyone. I used to make myself smaller to avoid conflict. Well, why that sounds so liberal coded? And I would over explain, I would apologize first because I genuinely think it was kindness. But it wasn't. It wasn't being nice. It was fair. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I still want people around me to feel respected. But I have learned that in a relationship, if in order to keep someone in your life, you need to abandon yourself, then it's not a relationship. It's not a healthy one. It's a performance. Yeah, so one of the biggest sides of my mental glow up is that I no longer need everyone to understand me. I no longer need everyone to understand my boundaries. And I think some self boundaries do not need an explanation. If they are your people, they will understand. And if you need to over explain your boundaries, then they are probably not your people. I just start accepting that some people are going to misunderstand me. Some people are going to dislike me, and that's totally okay. It's totally fine because my peace, worth, so much more than approval. Now, this one is huge for me. Okay, let's admit the fact that our brains say things all day. Some of them are useful, but some of them are complete craps. The problem is we used to treating every thought like it's a fact. Like, nobody likes me. Really? Nobody? Are you sure? Or everyone else has figured out? Is that so? Everyone or just some people in your inner circle? So yeah, in order to stop this, I practice something really simple. Whenever my brain starts spiraling, I just say to myself, oh, interesting. What else? I start to treat my thoughts like weather. And you know, weather are unpredictable, right? There are some days it's sunny, there are some days it's rainy. They're gonna pass. So yeah, you don't have to build your own identity around every storm that shows up. Okay, and the last thing I want to share with you guys is that for years, my happiness used to be always in the future. Like, I always tell myself, one day I will become confident when I lose weight, or someday I'm gonna fall in love with myself if someone falls in love with me. But you know what? Every time I reach one goal, my brain just simply removed the finish line. That's when I realized that confidence is not a reward. It's a kind of consistent practice. Because you cannot just waking up and feel worthy. You need to practice acting like someone who knows they are already there. Like, fake it till you make it, they say. Yeah, and one day your mind will finally catch up. So yeah, if you ask me what my mental glow up looks like today, I would say it's pretty ordinary. Like, I just don't feel panic when someone leaves me on read, or I just don't feel like I have to explain every decisions I make. I don't chase people who clearly do not want to stay with me. But yeah, I still have insecure days. I still overthink sometimes. I still have doubt for myself. But those moments do not become my whole identity. I let them pass over a few days. This video is a little bit long, so here's my final thoughts. I think a real glow up isn't becoming a completely different person, but becoming a person who is on your own side. Like, you start speaking to yourself with a little more compassion, with a little more patience. Because at the end of the day, I realized that the most attractive thing that I have seen in another person isn't confidence, it is peace. You know, the kind of peace coming from a person who knows that they do not have to prove themselves to anyone. So if you're waiting to become more successful, become prettier, before you even allow yourself to feel enough, I hope you do not wait as long as I did, because the day you start treating yourself like someone who worth caring, that's when the real glow up begins, trust me. Okay, sorry guys, after filming this video and 30 minutes later, I just remember that there was still one lesson left, is that, and I think it's probably the hardest lesson. I used to compare myself to everyone's highlights. Someone got engaged, someone just moved abroad, someone just started their own business. I mean, I always looked at their success and think, I should have been there by now. But comparison actually kills your ability to appreciate your own progress, because I realized that by the time I stopped measuring my life against other people's timeline, I started to learn how to appreciate how much I had grown. And I realized self-growth isn't always loud and dramatic. It isn't necessarily be a big success, like buying a house or starting a business, but sometimes it's really silent. Like, for example, you know how to respond calmly instead of reacting emotionally. You know how to get through a hard day without giving up, or you know how to say no without feeling guilty. And because I didn't appreciate my own progress, that's why I also realized I would never talk to myself the way I would talk to my friend. Like, my inner voice was always like, you're behind, you will probably fail, you're not good enough. Like, imagine hearing that from someone, like from your friend. Would you keep them around? If the answer is no, so why you tolerate it from yourself? So that's why I started replacing the harsh thoughts, the inner voice, with the more honest but kinder ones. It's not fake positivity, okay? It's just honesty. For example, instead of saying I'm a failure, I would say I am learning. Or instead of saying I would never figure it out, I would say I haven't figured it out yet. That's really, really important. That simple word, yet, is actually giving me more room to grow. One of the biggest surprises was realizing being confident was not a performance. You know, before I used to think that confident people were so fearless. Now I think they are just acting despite the fear. Like, they were not fearless, they just keep moving and keep acting despite the fear. So the mental glow up actually happened when I stopped asking myself, am I confident? But it happened when I asked myself, am I being honest with myself? Am I being the fullest version of myself? So the real confidence will come when you trust your own judgment, when you trust your own progress, not when you are trying to act cool or act fearlessly. It actually comes when you know how to keep promise with yourself. When you know what you really need, like, you know when to rest, when you are tired, or when you say you will study and you actually do it. Okay, that's all. Like, I just took a bath, but like when I was showering, I feel like I really need to add these points because they are really important. So don't forget about my bare face. Like, I haven't prepared. I just, feel the need to grab my iPad and film this. Okay, thanks for being here with me to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video real soon. And also, do not forget to subscribe and like this video if you find it useful to you. Thanks for listening to me yapping all the time.